Hi everybody, welcome to the Scott Show, this day in history. And yes, you got the morning show music. I just hit one and it was the morning show music. Why not? Because it's still morning. And we do this show every single day here on the scottshow.com. So it is the 21st of February. It is Wednesday today. But we are going to be looking at this day in history. We start in 1245. And Thomas, the first known bishop of Finland, is granted resignation after confessing to torture and forgery. All right. 1437, James I of Scotland is assassinated. In 1440, the Prussian Confederation is formed. In 1613, Mikhail I is unanimously elected Tsar by the National Assembly, beginning the Romanov dynasty of Imperial Russia. In 1797, a force of 1,400 French soldiers invades Britain at Fishguard in support of the Society of the United Irishmen. They were defeated by 500 British reservists. In 1804, the first self-propelling steam locomotive makes its outing in Wales. In 1808, without a declaration of war, Russian troops crossed the border to Sweden at Oberstfjord in eastern Finland, thus beginning the Finnish War, in which Sweden will lose the eastern half of its country to Russia. Alright, in 1828, the initial issue of the Cherokee Phoenix is the first anything to use Cherokee language out there. First magazine, first newspaper, anything like that. It's number one. Alright, in 1842, John Greenough is granted the first United States patent for the sewing machine. In 1848, Karl Marx and Frederick Engels published the Communist Manifesto. In 1862, the American Civil War. The Battle of El Verte is fought near Fort Craig in the New Mexico Territory. Not too much is known about fighting the Civil War in all the way west in New Mexico. In 1874, the Oakland Daily Tribune publishes its first edition. In 1878, the first telephone directory is issued in New Haven, Connecticut. 1885, the first and newly completed Washington Monument is dedicated. In 1896, an Englishman raised in Australia, Bob Fitzsimmons, fought an Irishman, Peter Mather, in an American promoted event which technically took place in Mexico, winning the 1896 World Championship of Boxing. 1916, World War I. In France, the Battle of Verdun begins. In 1918, the last Carolina parakeet dies in captivity in the Cincinnati Zoo. In 1919, German socialist Kurt Eisner is assassinated. His death results in the establishment of the Bavarian Soviet Republic and parliament and government fleeing Munich, Germany. In 1921, the Constituent Assembly of the Democratic Republic of Georgia adopts its country's first constitution. 1925, the New Yorker publishes its first issue. In 1937, the League of Nations bans foreign national volunteers in the Spanish Civil War. 1945, World War II, in the Battle of Hiroshima, kamikaze planes sink the carrier USS Bismarck C and damage the USS Saratoga. In New York City, Edwin Land demonstrates the first instant camera, the Polaroid land camera, in a meeting of the Optical Society of America. 1948, NASCAR is incorporated. 1952, the British government under Winston Churchill abolishes identity cards in the UK to set the people free. 1952, also, the Bengali movement of language protest occurs in the University of Dhaka, which is in East Pakistan now, Bangladesh. 1958, the CNE symbol, aka peace symbol, commissioned by the Direct Action Committee in protest against the atomic weapons research establishment, is designed and completed by Harold Holtholm. 1965, Malcolm X is assassinated in a ballroom in New York City. 1972, United States President Richard Nixon visits the People's Republic of China to try to fix the relations between China and America. 1972, the Soviet unmanned spaceship Luna 20 lands on the moon. 1973, over the Sinai Desert, Israeli fire aircraft shoots down Libyan Airlines Flight 114, killing 108 people. 1974, last Israeli soldiers leave the west bank of the Suez Canal, pursuant to a truce with Egypt. 1975, the Watergate Scandal. Former United States Attorney General John Mitchell, along with former White House aides H.R. Hellman and John Erdelman, are sentenced to prison. 1995, Steve Fawcett lands in Leader, Saskatchewan, Canada, becoming the first person to make a solo flight across the Pacific Ocean in a balloon. And in 2013, at least 17 people are killed and 119 injured following several bombings in the Indian city of Azerabad. Those were all the events that happened this day in history. We got a few birthdays to give out today. It is Peter III of Russia's birthday today, 1728. The oldest person still with us, born 1924, that has the Wikipedia page, that's kind of how we do it, is Robert Mugabe, who is the second president of Zimbabwe. In 1934, we got blessed in this world with Rue McClanahan, one of the Golden Girls, born this day in history. Harold V of Norway was born also today. Ty Daly, Alan Rickman, Olympia Snow, Kelsey Grammer from Frasier, Mary Chapin Carpenter, Scott and Mark Kelly were born on this day in history. Those guys are both astronauts. Jennifer Love Hewitt was born this day in history. Also, Charlotte Church and Charlotte Church and Ellen Page, born this day in history today. Died this day in history, we have James I of Scotland, Popes Julius II and Pope Benedict the 13th, both died on this day in history. Malcolm X, as we said here in the events. Tim Norton, who co-founded Tim Norton, was a hockey player and businessman. And just today we found out that Billy Graham passed away at the age of 99. So, there you go. Alright, and holidays, Armed Forces Day, the birthday of King Harold V, is Language Movement Day, and International Mother Language Day. So that is this day in history. You guys have a great day. Catch us on youtube.com/102550. You can find all the really cool stuff that we're doing. We are looking at expanding our YouTube profiles quite a bit. So check us out and like, share, subscribe, all that you can do to get us up there in the rankings. And we would love you guys forever and ever and ever. Alright, we'll see you guys here very soon on this day in history, every single day here on thescottshow.com.